You are an artist, not a style. You can change and you can do different things. But how? To learn this special VFX, I, Himanshi Kaushik, your host of the day, would like to welcome you all in today's webinar on what is special about special effects part 2. And I hope that you have also seen and enjoyed our part 1 as well. That is there already on our site, lpu.in, or on YouTube as well. So before we know a lot more about the VFX part and the technical aspect of it, I hope that you all are safe, sound and happy at wherever you're taking this webinar from. So to know a lot more about this, we have our expert in here. So I shall introduce you to our expert. We have Mr. Sandeep Mehra, sir, an assistant professor, School of Design, Lovely Professional University here with us. A dynamic professional with over 14 years of experience in the field of computer graphics and visual effects. He specializes in using graphic animation to enhance user experience in digital domain. Mr. Mehra has worked as a compositor and motion graphic artist on more than 15 feature films under Red Chillies in Mumbai and Pixeloid in Hyderabad as well. Aside from films, Mr. Sandeep has also worked on design projects for various institutions and companies such as Harvard University, Universities of Illinois Chicago, and football teams as well. He is involved in every aspect of motion design and visual effects from the initial development to the final delivery of the effects. Mr. Mehra believes that the magic of taking experiences from good to great lies in the creative collaboration between design and technology. He combines his expertise in computer graphics and visual effects with his passion for creativity to produce stunning visual experiences. So, sir, we are having this pleasure of hearing you in the webinar. And before I'd like you to continue with the webinar, I'd like all the participants to know that now you can write your questions, queries, and thoughts in the Q&A box or the chat box. And at the end of the session, we also allow some of the participants to talk with our expert directly with their questions and queries in their mind. So I hope that you will be posting your questions. And with this, sir, I'd like you to please take over the screen. Over to you.
Thank you, Himanshi. Good afternoon, guys. I'm Sandeep Mehra, as ma'am told you already. I take care of visual effects, basically post-production in the School of Design, LPU. Now, it's been like more than 14 years since I'm teaching and mentoring students now. I have also worked in multiple, movies projects. As ma'am told you earlier, I worked in Red Chillies, Mumbai and Pixeloid, Hyderabad. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another session, which I have taken earlier, just a little something on top of it. Last time when we have taken this session, some of you asked to see, the work done by me and our students. So today we're going to include that as well. But today I'm just going to give you a, idea about this field, which we call multimedia, and what is special effects in that. To start with that, let me give a quick introduction about our department, which is School of Design. We basically take care of 3 core fields, which are gaming, graphic design, and multimedia. Now, there are a lot of things which fall under them, but these are the main core programs which we run. Now, if you don't know gaming, graphic design, and what multimedia is, I'm also going to give a very quick introduction of those. Now, if I have to start, let me start with gaming. Now, game design, just hold on, let me put this down. Game design, I think most of you know already. If you are too much into gaming, you're one of those who like to play, games like PUBG, COD, or even Valorant. You are too much into gaming. So you have a field where you can really, contribute and put your ideas up front. So we have bachelor's, we design in gaming, where, you can be a game designer, level designer, game developer, gameplay programmer, even, a 3D modeler, animation artist, shading and effects artist, game producer, or even a game tester. So that option also there if you really, are into gaming. Like I'm also one of those who like gaming. In fact, I was doing my MBA and, I left it in between. I realized, it's not my cup of tea. And I told my dad that time that I'm more towards, movies and I like to watch movies. So I came into that field where I can, somehow contribute in movies. And I became a rotoscoping artist. Then I promoted to a compositor. So you'll get to know these things, what these things are. But for now, we have this option of game design. And let me tell you, not only these fields are fun, but there is a lot of scope in them. And currently, if you look up around, you'll get to know these come under the top 3 fields which really requires resource persons now. And in fact, in gaming only, recently I was, reading an article. There's a requirement of 1 lakh job just in game design. Now, another thing which you have, which we offer, is graphic design. And if you don't know graphic design, that's mean you are living in some den. Graphic design is all over the place, especially motion graphics and UI UX. Now, before I come to graphic design, let me tell you, graphic design is a very old field. Earlier, it was more towards print design. Print design means like, we used to have these magazines cover, newspaper ads, those sort of things. But now it has, put itself a notch up. And now you have graphic design. Graphic design would be like, animating a movie's title or ending credit of a movie, or logo animation, YouTube intros, outros, those sort of things. And another important thing which is there is which is very much in demand. Even the pay scale is very high. So that is UI UX. Sound a bit tricky, but UI represent user interface and UX represent user experience. This one, right? So what UI UX is designing the user interface. User interface means could be an interface of a website, of an app, and user experience would be, which we call UX, is how a user going to interact with your product. Product could be your app or website. So that also, as you know, like everything is on a website and on an app nowadays, right? So to design them, we need these UI UX designer, which fall under graphic design. So that also there. On top of it, we have brand identity designing. Brand identity designing would be like designing everything about a brand, its logo, its visiting card, its notepad, its color themes, everything that company requires. So that comes under brand identity. Then you have a creative art director, print design, website design, logo design. I think these are you're quite familiar with. Now, the thing which really, keeping our students in very higher packages are motion graphics and UI UX. So we're gonna cover this some other time, but today we going to focus more towards special effects, and special effects fall under multimedia. So we have a degree for multimedia as well. A multimedia is a vast field. I would say multimedia for me is, everything which moves on a digital screen is a multimedia for me. If you're seeing a movie on a theater, or even if your TV screen, everything is there, which you're seeing has some part of multimedia in it. If you're seeing a TV commercial, multimedia. If you're seeing a daily soap or a TV series, multimedia. A documentary, short film, multimedia. If you are even seeing a sports, a game, in that also you have multimedia. So everything, everything which moves on a digital screen for me is a multimedia. Now, in movies, you have your post-production. In post-production, you have to design, how the logo should come. Let's say movie Singham coming, so how that Singham title should look like, ending credits, video editing, audio editing, special effects, that all the part of a movie making. Then if you see commercials, all those commercials which you see around are usually generated in CGI. When I CGI means computer generated imagery. So if you see a Cadbury ad, in that the chocolate which you're seeing is not an actual chocolate which is being shot by somebody, but it's actually a 3D chocolate which is being made and rendered and then presented to you. So you can see it in a best possible way. If you're seeing a car ad, chances are those cars are made in 3D, not a real car which are being shot. So, you know, in all these commercials, the title is there, some sort of text animation is there. So that all fall under multimedia. Then when we talk about sports, if that how that score is coming, you know, how when let's talk about cricket, if you know, if somebody hitting a boundary where the ball fell, that diagram, that 3D integration, that all fall under uh, multimedia. So in daily soaps, again, the title, the ending credit, the video editing, the visual effects, compositing, there's so many things which happens again in a daily soap. Now, when I'm saying digital screen, everything, you know, even if somebody presenting their work nowadays, even there's a you know, architecture walkthrough or even an operation happening somewhere, they usually, you know, do it in a 3D. Let's say if some, you know, crucial important operation a doctor has to perform nowadays, what they do is they do it in 3D first. Like our former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, when his knees surgery happened, that also happened first in 3D, and then actually they performed that surgery. Same thing, like anything which you make nowadays, even a building, a society, an office, or whatever, they make it in 3D first, and then actually that production starts. Like our recently our parliament, which they're going our uh, prime minister, which he going to inaugurate tomorrow. That also, you know, first they made it in 3D. That's why you came to know how it's going to look like. And now, once they have a good proper 3D walkthrough of that building, then they have worked on it, and tomorrow they're going to inaugurate it. So in everything, you know, even in your mobile, everything which you have, you know, an app, the interface of an app, how an app should react, I know how it should animate, how it should translate from one page or to one screen to another screen. All those things also fall under multimedia, which basically done by UI UX designers. So, you know, everything, if you talk about anything which is moves on a screen is multimedia. In fact, nowadays, all the corporate companies, if they have to present their work, they have to show any type of case study reports that also being made by a multimedia design. So nowadays, you know, when things has turned into online platform where it's all about, you know, having online presence, multimedia is the one which playing the key role. That's why suddenly there's a huge demand in these sectors. Now, multimedia, if I talk about, basically we divide it into three parts. You might feel a little confusing, but don't worry, bear with me. Are divided into three parts. Those three parts are pre-production, which you can see it on your screen, and then production, and then you come to the part C, which is post-production. Pre-production is something where we visualize, we create the concept about the work which we're going to do it in a 3D or a live action movie. So here, you know, things would be like designing the concept, what kind of costume should be there, you know, what should be the storyboard, how screen should translate from one to another. So all those things you have to sketch it out. You have to do brainstorming. That all part of pre-production. That also we teach in the first year of multimedia program. Then comes the production part. Production part where the actual action happens, where you're going to, you know, create either 2D models or 3D models. When I'm saying 2D models are two-dimensional objects. Like earlier, when you used to, you know, watch Mickey Mouse, Tom and Jerry, you know, those Mowgli, you know, those all were two-dimensional animations. That also we teach. And three-dimensional would be which you see nowadays, How to Train Your Dragon, Toy Story 3, you know, Cloudy with a Chance of a Meatball, you know, all those movies which are coming up nowadays are basically in 3D. So that also there. So in that we have things like modeling, texturing, rigging, animation, you know. I don't want to bore you with all these options, but modeling in a simple word is, you know, creating the structure of that character object, right? Texturing would be giving some sort of fabric or some sort of, you know, texture on top, like could be a metal texture, a cloth texture, a plastic texture, whatever it is. And then we have rigging. Rigging is like putting bones in those structure which you have created. Like if you have created a character, you're going to keep some sort of bones so that you can move them around Then after keeping bone inside those 3D characters, you animate them. That is called animation, right? Then come the VFX part in production, which is like creating dynamics, particles. I know these are words you are not going to understand, but these are basically creating things like fire, rain, smoke, debris, those sort of things. And then they do light on top. Like you can see this light on me. That's why, that highlighted part, shades and everything is visible to you, all because of light. So then you assign different types of light in that 3D scene so that you get the final look and feel. Once you're done with all that, then come the part of post-production, the last stage. The post-production would be giving the final touch to the work which you have done so far. So in that, there's a thing called compositing. Compositing is like merging everything together. Let's say if you have created a character and somebody has created a background, then I'm going to merge them together. So they'll look like they belong to a same scene, right? Then we do color correction. We also do motion graphics. Motion graphics is, like creating some sort of graphics in motion. So if you have made some sort of design, let's say it could be that movie's title coming up, or some sort of information in between which you want to tell to your viewers, that all fall under motion graphics. Now there's a lot to it. These are the bigger umbrella. Under them there are a lot of field. Let's say if I talk about just this term called 2D VFX, or even compositing, or let's talk about post-production. Let's say just this post-production word, let me tell you how many kind of jobs are there. You could be a rotoscoping artist, you can be a paint artist, you can be a BG prep artist, you can be a stereoscopic conversion artist, you can be a compositor, you could be a tracking artist, you can be a stereoscopic conversion artist, yeah, you can be a color corrector, you can be a dynamic artist, and you can be a motion graphics artist. These many jobs are there just in post-production. Let me come down to the very last point, which is motion graphics. Even in this, motion graphics also may sound, just animated graphics, but in this also, I'll tell you what kind of jobs you can do. There's an explainer video, there's a whiteboard animation artist, there can be a logo animator, there could be a explainer video artist, infographics artist, so these multiple jobs are there under these categories also. That's why there's too much demand nowadays of multimedia. Now, today, I'm not going to bore you with all those things, but I'm going to focus on a very small part of it, which is called compositing. In layman's language, let me call it special effects. All right, but the actual word, without any jargon, would be special effects, but the real term is called compositing. So to make you understand this compositing, aka special effects, which you call, I'm going to divide it into 3 parts. Okay, so let's focus on compositing. Let's understand what compositing would be. Okay, so I'm going to keep it very simple, very easy to understand. So let's dive into compositing, and I'm going to divide it into 3 parts. Then I'm going to show you how these 3 parts work together seamlessly. Okay, the first thing which comes is rotoscoping. Now, this is the first step. This is the first job you get if you want to go into compositing. Rotoscoping is when you create these kind of masks. You see this green color mask around the body of Captain America or all these characters. These are called rotoscoping. These are masking which we animate frame by frame. And the purpose of these is either to remove the background or to do the 3D stereoscopic conversion. 3D stereoscopic conversion would be like the way you watch movies nowadays. You go to theater, you wear these glasses and you see things in depth, right? Which you call 3D movies, but that is again is a layman's language. The real word for it is stereoscopic conversion. So that also is being done using rotoscope. So rotoscoping is nothing but masking out your characters or masking out your subject. And how we mask it out? We use a pen tool and we create a boundary around them and we extract them from the background. Then the purpose would be I'll extract these characters out and when I'm going to extract them out, I can replace the background, or I can keep something in foreground or in background. So I can change it. I'm going to show you with a demo very quick. So that is called rotoscoping. Now let me tell you the scope of rotoscoping alone the maximum amount of rotoscoping work, not for a regional movie or not even for a Bollywood flick, but for the Hollywood movies happens in India. So I would say 95% of rotoscoping work of the entire Hollywood flicks which you ending credits of a Hollywood movie, you'll notice a lot of Indian names. That is because they must have done the rotoscoping or compositing in them. And in fact, I don't know whether you have noticed this or not, but these universal movies like Iron Man, Avengers, all which you watch, release a day or 2 days before in India than around the globe. Earlier, there was a time when these movies used to come 6-7 months late in India. You have to wait 6-7 months. I've seen that time when these movies used to release 6-7 months late in India. But now they release earlier in India, earlier than any other place. So in fact, you'll see a lot of these people who review these movies coming to Mumbai or even Delhi just to review a day before. So these things happening because the work, the post-production work happening in India a lot. That's why you'll see a lot of Indian names at the ending credit because they have worked on it and they also get credit in them. So that is rotoscoping, right? There a lot of scope. And then the second, as I've told you earlier, we're going to divide it into 3 parts. So first was rotoscoping, which is creating a mask and extracting your subject. Another one is chroma key. I think you guys are quite familiar with this. Chroma key is nothing but a green and blue screen, which you see behind, in movies. If you watch movie making or even a VFX breakdown, you'll see all these kind of screens. The purpose of these green and blue screen is same like rotoscoping, to extract your character from the background so that you can replace it with something else, right? Same thing, you must be seeing these kind of green spill around my body, right? This is also because I have a green screen behind me. So it won't work better unless I, as a compositor, take command and bring it inside my software, and then I can really replace this background nicely without all these green spill around me. Right. So these chroma key basically comes in green and blue color. Now, why we use green and blue color? Why not any other color? Could be purple, brown, or something else. But we use only these 3 colors, or rather these 2 colors, green and blue. The reason being, there are multiple reasons. These 2 colors are very less in our body, green and blue. The color which is too much in our body is a warm color, which is red, could be because of blood in our body. So now when we design any camera or even bring a digital imagery, those imagery basically made of RGB. These are the color codes: red, green, blue. RGB we call it. I think some of you must have heard of it. RGB. So in these RGB means red, green, blue. Red is there too much in our body because of blood. So what we left with? Green and blue. So that's why we use green and blue, because they are very less in our body and they create a very good contrast. If I'll keep a green screen behind me, which it is, it creates a very good contrast. It can easily, the software can easily detect that this is some other color and this is some other color. So it will be able to distinguish between your foreground and background. So that's how it's, came into display. And the way it's being processed throughout all these years is, also the reason, like our cameras are more sensitive towards these color, blue color and green color. If you have old, cameras with DV footages and all that, those were more sensitive towards blue color. And today's digital cameras, they are more sensitive towards green color. So if you have a digital camera and you want to key it out, it's better to use a green screen. If you have an older camera, then it's better to use a blue screen. There are a lot of other reasons I don't want to bore you with. But this is your chroma key. Chroma key, again, just to extract your foreground or your subject from the background. And it's just a click away. I'll show you how easy it is just to replace a background in your compositing software. The third thing which I want to talk about is called tracking. There's a small thing which I thought not to bore you with about chroma key. There's a thing called spill, which I have mentioned here. Spill is something which you're seeing around my body, the outline. There's a green color outline around me. This is called spill. So that also I'm going to tell you how to remove it. The third important thing in compositing is tracking. Now, tracking is, like I say, track that person out. I'm tracking this data. I'm getting track of my device, right? So getting the information of movement is called tracking. So same in compositing also, tracking is getting the information of movement. And why this is important? This is important because let's say I have shot something. Okay, I have shot this room, or I have shot myself, and I want to keep a CGI object or some object in my hand, and I want to compose it or merge it in my hand. Let's say some sort of alien in my hand, right? So now my hand is moving. If I want to place something on top of it, let's suppose this is that alien, right? Let's suppose this is that alien, and I want to place it on top of it, right? As my hand is moving, this also supposed to move, right? This will only happen if I'll get the information of movement of my hand. So if I want to place any CGI character on top of my hand, I need to know how much this hand is moving. Otherwise, if I don't have that information, that thing will be static, right? And if I'll keep anything on top, it will stay that way, and the main object is moving, but the thing which I have composited on top won't move according to it. So we need information of movement. So I need to know how much that hand was moving. So if I'll keep anything, any imagery when I say could be a 3D object, a video, or an image, anything on top of it, it should also move along with it. So I need to know how much that hand was moving, so that object also can move along with it. Another example would be, if I think all of you have seen Jurassic Park, right? So Jurassic Park, they must have shot in a live footage, right? They've actually shot it somewhere. Now they want to show, a dinosaur, running behind a person. So what they must have done is they have kept an handheld camera, which they keep it on hand, and they have kept this shake, a character moving towards the camera. Behind you have a dinosaur coming up. So that handheld camera is moving, right? There's a lot of shake to give that thrill, to get you excited, to get that thrill. What they'll do is they'll move that handheld camera, and when there's a lot of shake in that camera, obviously if you're going to create or keep a CGI dinosaur behind it, that dinosaur also need to move along with that video which you have shot, because there's be a lot of shake. So that dinosaur also need to shake. So again, you need to know tracking, right? So now, having said that, we have rotoscoping, right? We have keying, which is green screen, blue screen, and then we have tracking, which is gonna give the information of movement. So I can keep these objects on top of anything, and it will move along with it. I'm going to show you with an example, but let me show you very quickly some of the work which is being done by the studio where I have worked in. I'll show you some of the work so that you'll get a better idea what these things are. So now you know what rotoscoping is, what chroma key is, and what tracking is. Now I'll show you few shots done by the Pixeloid studio where I worked in. So you'll get a better idea how these things we combine and integrate in a live footage. Right. So as I was telling you earlier, this is a shot which is being shot live. Now they want to keep some sort of eagle on top of it. So what they need is they need to know how much camera is moving, so that then when that eagle come on top of it, it should also move along with this area. So it should look like it's actually there on top of it, right? So for that, you again need tracking. Now again, same thing. This is actually completely CGI, computer generated imagery, all made in 3D. Could be software called Maya, 3ds Max. Now they want to keep this hero on top of this train. Then again, they need information of movement. So they need to know how much the train is moving. For that, they must have done tracking. Now this guy must be there in front of a green screen so that they can key out the background and they can only extract this actor. So what they have done, they have kept green screen, right? In this case, blue screen, right? So what they have done is they have kept blue screen and they have extracted this person out, and all that background is gone. Now, if you notice this part where his legs are, anything below that knees, there is no green screen. So you won't be able to extract them out, right? Because there is an object, this is not a green screen. So what they do is here they use rotoscoping. So wherever they can use green screen, wherever the blue color, they can extract this person out. And wherever the blue screen or green screen not there, they're going to utilize rotoscoping, which we talked about. So now combination of green screen, blue screen, they have extracted this person, and with the help of tracking, they have kept it on top of that train. Right, so these things happen again, as I was telling you. Special effects for me nowadays, why I call it special? What's so special about special effects? Because nowadays, most of the special effects are quite invisible to you. Is there, but most of you don't even know is there. Like in this case, if you have seen this movie, all that cut and that mark which is there are completely generated in CGI and tracked on his face. That's why it's being, looking is actually there. But if you see that movie, you might think it's a makeup. They must have done some sort of makeup. But these things also is being done in, post-production and compositing nowadays. Okay, so same thing again here. They have kept a CGI hand and they have tracked it on top of it. Again, right? Green screen. And if you're wondering what these dots are, right? These dots you must have seen in a lot of movies, breakdown and all. These are called tracker markers. Tracker markers are very essential when you want to track something. The third option which you talked about, tracking. For these, it's very important to have these kind of tracker. What is the purpose of these trackers? They give information of the contrast ratio. Means because everything is green, right? If we are going to use our software, they're not going to understand how much these things are moving, how much movement is there, because everything is green, right? So your software don't have eyes, so they won't able to understand much unless you give them these trackers. Excuse me. These trackers gives information of contrast. So these gonna create some sort of different color around them, which gonna generate some sort of contrast, and your software going to detect, what, okay, this is some other place, this is some other place, and these are moving in certain way. These kind of sort of parallax is going to generate. So according to that parallax, there must be this much of movement, right? So we create these dots so that our software should be able to understand how much movement is happening. So even the very basic thing where an actor have to keep a color on top of his face, that also is being done by, compositing nowadays. That invisible visual effects is there nowadays. That's why I call it so special in this special effect. things, on the actor's face. That's why they look good, but nobody going to tell you, or they're not gonna keep it a part of their VFX or making of that movie. They don't want to show you that, but that also happens a lot, big time. Like another one controversy happened, few years back, when they by mistake they showed Salman Khan CGI apps in the VFX making. Show you that screenshot also, if that I think is there with me. Right, this was that making is what I was talking about. In this VFX studio, what they did is they have showed that we have kept a CGI app of Salman Khan. This is, I think, 10 years back or something, right? So that time, from that time, you get is if a stunt man used to do some sort of stunt, they used to keep camera behind them, or they used to make that scene very blurry, or they used to give some sort of motion blur, so you won't be able to notice that whether is an actor, the real actor, or some sort of stunt man, right? If you see old time like Dharmender, Amitabh Bachchan, they are fighting with a tiger, you either won't see the actual face of those actors, of that actor on top of it, so that you can have a good look and you'll feel like this stunt is actually being done by the actor himself. Okay, so you get the idea. This is again combination of rotoscoping, special effects, so special. Another example, which is being done by another studio where I have worked in, which is Red Chilies. And why I want to show you that, this is a movie which goes back to 2007, right? And this movie was Chakte India. So what happened is, when we talked about special effects, basically action, but then also this is completely filled with compositing or visual effects. So everything, that crowd generation, all these crowd, in that scene, whether you have to make this ground green, everything is special effect, which you people won't even notice most of the time.
Sir, I believe there are lags that are happening. You're not able to watch the video and your video as well.
Okay, let me correct that out now. Could be the network. Let me change the network for a minute. Give me a minute. Okay, let me check now. Now it's better.
Now it's good.
So right, you have seen here, like they have generated crowd behind. So these kind of things, which is there kind of invisible to all these movies, happens all the time. Now, I don't want to, push it further, but let me show you very quickly what are the things, which you won't even notice. So in fact, in this entire movie, that hockey ball which you have seen is computer generated. Even the net in that goal is a computer generated, everything. To make a movie perfect, every shot perfect, we take the help of post-production. Let me show you a few examples very quick. Like this shot, this is obviously hit by an actor, so it won't be that professional. So there's a lot of bounce to it. There's hardly any speed or velocity. So what they have done is they have removed this ball, and what they have done is they've kept a CGI ball, which you're gonna see now. Right, it's way too slow, and even making multiple bounds, it's not gonna look a shot being hit by a pro player. Now this is a CG ball, which directly going with a higher velocity in the gap. So again, this shot is another good example. Once she hit the ball, it got stopped by mistake by the another player, right, the goalkeeper, which they call. So instead of reshooting the scene again, what they have done is they have removed that shot which is being stopped by him by mistake. Again, they have kept a CGI ball to replace the actual ball. But in movie, what happened is this ball goes directly to the goal. Right? So these things happens a lot. Now, what I want to do is I don't want to, spend more time to it. You can look around these kind of meetings. What I want to do very quickly is I'm going to show you how we pull these things off, because we are running out of time. Okay, so let me show you how it works. I hope it's visible to you all. So you can see in front of you, you have a green screen, right? That's how we pull it. And another example of green screen. So what we do is I'll show you how simple it is, even though there are a lot of things we do later on. But all you have to do is we go down to our software. These things you might not going to understand because you don't understand the software, its workflow, the interface. So let me show you very quickly how easy it is to remove an ad. What we do is we go to key, right? And we have multiple tools. You can use whatever you want. And all we have to do is just select and click on it. And you can see it all became transparent. Now still is not perfect. What we do is we double check it and we make sure whatever we want to keep should be pure black, pure white, and whatever we don't want to keep, the background which we want to extract, should be pure black. So it's not happening here. You can see a lot of gray areas, right? And here also we can see a lot of green. So what we do is we use these options to make it complete white, clip black and clip white. What actually they are doing is the clip white, it's pushing this gray area towards white, and clip black turning the gray area towards black. So now we have a perfect key, right? And again, just like you're seeing that green spill around me, the same spill I'm getting here also. right? So this spill is nothing. What happening is the light in front of me hitting back the green screen behind me and falling on top of my body. This is called spill, right? The light in front of me hitting back the green screen behind and falling on top of my body. So that generating this green color spill around it, right? So that also we can easily remove. So same thing happening here also, you can see all that green spill. So what we do is we use a neutral color, which is a gray color. If you don't know color theory, this is a neutral color, means which is kind of neutral for everyone. So what we do, or we rather tell this software is, whatever the green spill you're getting, change it to a neutral color, which is gray, right? So it will turn into a gray color and suddenly you'll see your spill is gone. So you have a nice green, you have a nice matte, a properly extracted person, right? And whatever we want, we can add it behind it. Let's say if I want to add an image behind it, let's say I felt like this image, I can bring this image, right? And all I have to do is just keep it behind, right? And that way we can compose it on top, right? If I want, I can just make a duplicate copy of a, right? You can make multiple copies. That way you can make twins also, right? So that way we make multiple copies. So this is how we do the key. Another thing is rotoscoping, which we talked about. Let me show you very quickly, even though you're not going to understand it now. But what that is, we use this kind of pen tool and we create a manual mask around our subject. So I'm just going to create a rough for now because we don't have much time, right? So very quickly, let me finish it off, even though we make it into multiple parts, not this way, the way I'm making, right? Let me just keep it till here for now, right? So this is also something, a process which you need to learn. Right? So you can see the background is gone. This is called rotoscoping. Now, it's not that easy. I have to make it perfect. I have to give much more detail to it that we can work on. Another thing which we have to do is, as this person is moving, I have to animate this mask also. So step by step, I'm gonna, animate it along with that person. Now you can see it's not working anymore because that person has moved, right? So you have to move it frame by frame. This is called rotoscoping. The third thing which we talked about, tracking, right? So let me show you an example of tracking also. Let me open a file very quickly. This will, make you understand how tracking works. Now, for example, I have this footage. Okay, it's very simple footage, right? I have shot this footage, and what I have done is this is the actual footage. Okay, there's a camera panning around this room, right? Very simple shot. Now, if I want to place just an image on top, I want this image to stay on top of this, let's say this box, right? Now, without tracking, you see how it's going to look like. Without tracking, I just place this image on top of it, and you won't feel like it's actually there, right? It's floating in air. Why? Because it's not being tracked on top of it, and nobody will believe that is actually there on top of it, right? It should stick on top of that box. So for that, what we do is we do tracking. So if I do tracking, now this again, I have tracked it on top of it. Now you'll feel like it's actually there. It's gonna stay on top of it throughout the video. right? Because with the help of tracking, I came to know the information of camera movement, and according to that, I have placed that object. So this is how tracking come into play. Let me show you a much better example of tracking. Now, same thing, what I have done is to take this thing further. What I have done is I have created a CGI generated plane, right? And I have created some smoke, some sort of damage to this table, and I have composed it all these options together. Right. So now what I have done is I've kept a CGI plane, right? And if I'll after doing tracking, this is how it's looking like. If you notice, you'll feel like is this CGI plane which I have composited on top is actually there. You'll feel like it's there on top of table, even though it's not. Why? Because of compositing, and what making it more believable because it's sticking on top of the table with the help of tracking. If I won't do tracking, it won't look believable because it's going to float in air. So with the help of this tracking, it's looking much more believable. Down to it, if I have to show you very quickly, it's being divided into this plane. You have this plane, right? This is being rendered in Maya, which I have kept on top. This, and then we have these ground cracks, right, to make it more believable. Then we have sound. So this is how we compose it. If I want to keep something on top of it, with the help of keying on tracking, I can track myself, I can key myself, I can rotoscope myself, and I can keep it on top of it. This is how it works. Right? Let me show you another example very quickly. Okay, this is another example. What I have done is uh, I had drove this car and I wanted to show that this car is hitting this person, right? So what I have done is I have taken two different shots and I have merged them together. Right? Hitting that person, even the bonnet got broken, the headlights and everything, right? So all this, if you'll come down, this is being divided into multiple parts. So if I really want to show you, actually, what I have done is I have kept this student. If I'll remove, this is the student. Now, if you look closely, you have this, glass and blood. If I don't want this blood or this glass, I can remove them. That also will be gone, right? Then I have also kept this hood, which is breaking, right? This also, if I want, I can remove it. Actually, it's this way, but I kept, this hood so people will believe it's breaking and hitting something. And if you'll come down to this person, you'll see this person is being rotoscoped. See, again, they are different masks. So what I have done is I have removed the background of that person. So if I'll remove it, you'll see that that person is actually in that scene, right? So he was coming without, there is no car in that scene. So what I have done is I have created same way the mask, right? And I have only kept that person because I couldn't use green screen. So what I have done, I have only kept that person with the help of rotoscoping. That, right? So even though I've kept that person, right? So this is how it's being kept there. Right. Another thing which is there is another use of rotoscoping is if I keep that person, it will look like it's actually, somewhere, coming on top of that car, which is not looking believable. So what I have done is I have kept another piece of car on top of it. So it should look like it's actually there somewhere in between. Right. And this is also being done with the help of a rotoscope. You can see that mask. So I've kept a mask and again kept on top. So it will look slightly more believable. Right. I forgot to turn on the falling glasses, right? And blood. Right. So this is how this all process combining your rotoscoping, keying, and tracking is called compositing. Right. There's a lot to it. This is just we're just scratching the surface. There are a lot of different techniques, different software, different system, layer-based system, node-based system. There are a lot to it, which we teach in the School of Design under multimedia. Under multimedia, then you have post-production. Under post-production, you have compositing, and under compositing, you will get to know rotoscoping, keying, and tracking. Right? So I think we don't have much time. So let me wind up for now. I wanted to show you much more. There are a lot of work. Again, I didn't get time to show some of our student work and some of the work which I have done. But because we are running out of time, so let's wind up this session for now from my end at least. Himanshi ma'am, over to you.
Sir, thank you so much. First of all, for presenting this and for guiding us again through how things are done in the real industry. So thank you so much for this. And like you were showing different things, and I was also enjoying, and I was also reminding myself that what we have seen in the movie is something, and when what you have shown is, it's like unbelievable for us, because they have not played like you've shown in the Chak De India movie. They have not even played, and we were like really connected to that movie. So sir, thank you for successfully busting our myth as well. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you so much for sharing your experience, sharing your knowledge to the attendees, for crediting your time for us, sir. So we have certain few questions now. I just wanted to take your permission if we can take them up.
Sure. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So this one question is from Radha Sharma actually. And the question read is, what are those basic requirements one must fulfill to be an VFX artist?
I would say two things. First is interest and good eye for detail. That's all you need. Rest we'll take care of.
Okay,
we have a lot of faculties to take care of rest of the things, but yeah, you need to have interest in movies and a good eye for detail.
Okay, Radha, I hope that all the things, all the requirements that you're talking about, you can learn in here in lovely professional university. Our experts will be here to teach you. And the only detail I think our experts want, the only requirement our experts want from you is just eye for the details and your interest and determination. Sir, with this, we have our second question. Can this I think, okay, this question came from Ishani Hilal, and it is reading like, is this we learn in couple of months? I think they're directing towards this particular VFX part. Can somebody learn this VFX in maybe 2 months or 3 months?
I think learning is a process which you can't say you can ever complete. I'm still learning. It's been like 15 years. I'm still learning, right? So I won't say you'll ever learn VFX. It's a continuous process. Techniques are being updated, softwares are being updated, plugins are being updated. So learning, so I won't say it's ever going to complete. But yeah, if you want to get an idea within few months that you can do it, that's not a big deal.
Okay, I believe it can go along with the other things if you want, Ishani. And sir, with this, we have our last question. And okay, I think it is the carry forward question of what you've said just now. What is the ultimate goal of an VFX artist?
Again, as I'm telling you, VFX is a bigger umbrella. There are a lot of things. Once you enter the industry, you have to design. You have to decide which field interests you the most. If you are a rotoscoping artist, Throughout that process, you have to decide whether you want to be a senior rotoscoping artist, you want to be team lead of the rotoscoping artist, or you want to change it to being a compositor or a 3D conversion artist, or you want to be part of shoot. You want to guide the director and assistant director where to keep tracker markers, where to keep the camera, how much movement should be there. Either that is your motive. So throughout that process, you're going to understand where your actual place is, right? So it's completely up to you. First, you have to enter the industry, the studio, and then you have to realize, you have to understand where you really fit in and where you want it to be.
Definitely, sir. I agree. And there is no goal for, I think, anyone out there who's living life perfectly. You can learn new things, and you can always aspire to get new things in your life. So, sir, with this, I'd like to thank you for joining in, for teaching all the students and me as well about the VFX, about the real part of the industry, I'd say. Um, and sir, I would like to now take up some admission queries. So with your permission, can I show them the site and how they can take admission?
Sure, please go ahead.
Okay. So to all the attendees who had any query regarding how you can take admission in university, that is LPU University, Lovely Professional University, this is going to be one-shot resolution for everyone, that is lpu.in. So lpu.in will be that site. Now you simply click on and just either click on or either just type it in the browser. This will be the interface that will be coming in front of you, right? So these are actually the highlights or the happenings that might have happened, or that might be happening at present, or that might happen in the near future, of course, all related to the university. So next, explore our site, and I promise you won't regret that. Okay, now since we're catering specifically about admissions, so we simply click on the admission in here. And once we click on the admissions, we see that we have different programs, right? We have undergraduate, after graduations, after 10th, post doctoral programs, post graduation programs, distance, online, and many other programs as well. So we will be simply taking an example of, let's say you are a 12th pass out student and want to take admission in undergrad program. So we simply go to after 12th undergrad and regular programs. So once we go to this regular program, we will be seeing whole lot of disciplines that you could just name any of the discipline you want, and you'll get in here. You can see engineering, agriculture, sciences, food tech, design, multimedia and animation design, sociology. So now, because we were having a lot of discussion about animation and multimedia today, so why not take an example of the same? So we simply just click on this multimedia design, and you can see that all the courses that are offered under that particular discipline are visible to you. We have BSc Design Multimedia, Design Graphics, Design Gaming, Graphics Gaming, Multimedia, etc. So you can just check it out whichever course you want to take. You simply click on that. So let's say I'm just clicking on this B Design. So B Design Graphics, and I have clicked on that. And once I click on a particular course, these are the options that are available that will provide you whole information about that particular course. So I'll be just in a minute telling you about all these options. So first is we'll be going through program details. So this gives you eligibility. Okay, so once you click on this program detail, this gives you eligibility for your particular course, whether you are eligible to take admission in that course or not. So here it says that you have to have at least 50% aggregate marks in your 10+2, and English should also have been your subject in your 12th. And along with that, you have to have LPU Nest, CUET, or UCEED, or maybe there are other exams as well. You need to qualify them to be able to take admission in here. And there are other options in here. You can just explore if you get any relaxation, and if you are able to take part in this course or not. Now I'll be just moving to highlight option, and this highlight option is something that would take your interest. Why? Because it gives you all what our students have achieved, and what all rankings a university has, and what is currently going on in particular course. That is, what all patents, what all conferences, workshops are happening, and what all copyrights and IPR that has been fulfilled or published under that particular course. Now, moving towards fee is the most important part for a student, and that is 1,20,000 rupee per semester will be our fees. But again, this is not something that our students do pay usually. Why? Because they get a lot of scholarships, and you can see that we have 3 slabs of scholarships, and you can avail up to 38% of program fee waiver on your per semester fee. And how you can avail that? There are all these requirements you can check. LPU score, 12th marks, or UCED and all the other exams that you've given. So you need to check in which category you fall in, and hence you will be getting the program fee waiver that is written in front of them respectively. Now I'll be moving to different scholarships as well. For example, if you were not able to take the scholarship that were mentioned there, we have other special scholarships and financial aids as well. So you just need to check it out in which scholarship you fall in and start applying for that. Now is very important part that I'm gonna tell you is the last date of the course. That is 31st May. So it's not too far. Attendees, participants, I would urge and request you to kindly go and apply for the test, apply for the course, so that you will be able to take part in your favorite course, so that after that you will be getting your first preference, first choice. Okay, now how you can apply is simply click on this apply now option, and this will be coming in front of you, and there are these bare minimum requirements that will be asked from you, and after that you'll be given your dashboard. Okay, and from that dashboard you can simply apply for the test, you can simply apply for the course in which or whatever course you want to take. Now I hope that I've given you every detail as to how you can take part in a particular course or not. Now even if you have other queries that I could not address in this webinar, you may write in the Q&A or chat box, or you can simply schedule a call with us. You can either WhatsApp us or have a live video counseling session as well. Now, last but not the least, I'm going to show you all the numbers. You can take screenshot, maybe write it down somewhere. These are the numbers that are available on the site as well. Just at the end of the site, you can call on them, and we will be, our esteemed counselors will be actually providing all the resolutions. And you have any query regarding anything about the admission, you can call on these numbers, and we will be there to provide our esteemed experience and knowledge to you, so that your query can be resolved. So I hope that I have given you all the details as to how you can go on with a particular course and how you can apply in a particular course. And now I would like to take permission from our expert, Sandeep sir, to wrap this webinar up. So can I do, sir?
Yeah, please do that.
Okay. So, sir, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for giving your time. And thank you so much to all the participants as well for coming in, for staying here for so long and being patient. And your questions also were really appreciated. Now, I would want to add one last thing, that we have other webinars also that are coming in. So, if I will be just posting this link in the chat box, if you have any interest in taking other webinars as well, you can just check it out and you can explore what all topics you want to take webinar of, and it is free. You can register it for free and you can gain knowledge as much as you can. So until next time, stay safe and stay healthy, and meet you soon in the next webinar. And thank you so much for joining in.